Hi everyone, welcome back to my next brand ambassador project for Graphic 45. This month I've been tasked with an up-leveling project, which is where we take a project released from the G45 kits and give them our own twist. So I thought I'd give Carla Lavera's Steampunk Spells Interactive Pyramid album a go and give it my own little twist, or how I would make it. And when Carla made this original, it was before we had the Tunnel and Pyramid album. So I'm going to take the idea from Carla, but using the newer Tunnel and Pyramid Chipboard album kit. So in this, we get these MDF pieces to make, or chipboard pieces to make a tunnel album and a pyramid album. And I've already made and shown you a tutorial how to make a tunnel album using The Beach is Calling, which I absolutely loved. And what I'm going to do today, this is one using Imagine, is I'm going to show you how to take the leftover pieces, even the papers from here, to make a pyramid album. So if you haven't seen this tutorial, I would suggest making the tunnel album first, because all the waste from here does get utilized now in my pyramid one. So let's get going and making our pyramid chipboard album. So I've collected the things ready to start the project. I've got the papers left over from making my tunnel album. So you can see I still got quite a few. I've also got the cutaways from when I made the frames from my tunnel album. I've got my chipboard pieces here. I haven't used every layer. There are smaller rectangles, squares as well, but I've stopped at this one, which is the 3x3 one. I thought that was small enough. And as you can see, what I've done, I've taken some framers tape and I've just taped the outside just to give it a nice neat edge. So I've got one more left to do. So I left one just for you to see what I do. So I take my tape with the sticky side up and I place my chipboard piece. Oh, there we go. Hadn't stuck it down. 2, 3, 4 edges. We just need to rejoin it. Cut it off. And then once it's adhered to all the 4 sides, I just take my scissors and I cut away a little V towards the corner. And then I'll be pressing it down like so. Let me cut these away before I do that. So I'm going to cut all 4 away. And then the last one. Flip it over, and we're just going to do the same. Cut away all 4 triangles. So you can see why I did this ahead of time with the other 5. It just gives you that little nice tidy black edge. Of course, you could just cover them in your papers and use more of the traditional cover making for scrapbooking method. But this way is more cost effective because it's just the tape you're paying for. You're not using all your decorative papers. And then I just take my bone folder, or my Teflon tool in this case, and press it all down. And there's my 6 pieces covered. So the next job now is to make our cardstock pages. And to make that a bit easier, I have produced a cutting guide for the cardstock. Now, if you'd like a copy of this free of charge, you will have to join my Facebook group, which is called Paper Crafting with Paul. And then in the file section, you'll see Pyramid Album Cutting Guide. And if you have a look in there, you can just print off this PDF, which will just help you go through. So you've got your pieces A to L and how many of each you need. If you're just going to do the basics with the pages and you want to add your own inserts rather than the pockets like I've done, every time you see a number 2, just ignore them and do your own thing. So let's get going. And to make things a little bit quicker, the cutting I've already done. So I've gone through with my black cardstock, cut the 7x7 piece and just put A on it, a 7x7 by 5 1/8, and just put B. So I'm ready now to start scoring. So let me just grab my scoreboard. I'll put all the pieces off to the right. So let's have a look. So A, no scoring, nothing to do. So I'll put it off to the side. B, 7 5/8, OT means on top of your scoreboard. So I'm putting my 7 5/8 across the top and I'm scoring at 7 and 7 1/8, so just the next channel over. So we're just making a little space in between each page, so we've got room to put our pockets in. If you wanted a wider one, 1/4 inch, every time you see 5/8, just add another 1/8 on. Then we're on to C. So we've got 2 C's, these are pockets. So we're going to score it 1/2 inch down both the short sides, so down 2 short and 1 long, and we've got 2 of them, so we're going to do the same, 1/2 inch down 2 short and 1 long. So this is what we do for every pocket, so you're going to see me do this a few times. D is a 6x6 with no scoring. E is 6 5/8, and I'm going to score at 6 and 6 1/8. Then we got F, we got 2 pockets, again 1/2 inch down 2 short and 1 long. And G is a little bit different now. We're getting to these really long pieces. With the 10 1/8, so 5 inches by 10 1/8, we're going to score at 5. And R means to rotate it. So you rotate it around and score at 5 again. That gives us the 1/8 in the middle. H, down 2 short and 1 long. I think I need to cut another H. I think I've only got 1. I'll do that later. H. I is 8 1/8. And we're going to score at 4. Rotate. 4. Then K. Oh, we've got J first. We've got 2 J's. 2 short and 1 long. And another one. So that's the J. Now it's K. So 6 1/8 across the top at 3 inches. Rotate 3 inches. And L, now this is the pocket for the first page. Now I've only gone for 1 because it's such a small little piece that I felt like 1 pocket was enough. So that's my scoring done. Now if I remember, I do need to cut another H, wasn't it? Another H. Okay, so I'm going to go and do that, and then I'll be back. We can start assembling. So I've gone off and I've done my H, and so we're all back on track. And so what I'm going to do now is go through and prepare my tape. So I've got my little scissors, I've got my bone folder or my Teflon tool, and I've got my strong tape. So you want some nice strong sturdy tape for this, like red liner tape. This is the Cool Cat Sticky Paws, which is just as strong, but it's much easier to use because you can just tear off pieces. So it just makes it so much quicker and less static. So let's start preparing. So A has got nothing. B, we had this little 1/2 inch channel and then these two 1/8 pieces. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to place some tape inside that 1/2 inch piece that I scored. So between the edge and the 1/2 inch, I'm just going to take my tape down, and then I'm just going to fold both of them towards me. And then the second one is only 1/8 of an inch, so it can be quite fiddly. So just sort of roll your cardstock over. So there's B already done. Let me put B on the front because I did do it the other way around for some reason. B. Then C are 2 pockets. Every time we come to one of these pockets, we're going to do exactly the same. We've scored down 2 short and 1 long. We're going to take our tape and we're going to place it inside those 1/2 inch channels, down the 2 short and across the long one at the bottom. Then we take our scissors and we're going to be cutting towards the cross where those 2 score lines have crossed. And rather than going straight across, I'm just going to angle my scissors to the left, which makes it, rather than a straight line, a bit off. That means that when we come to fold it over, we've got a little gap there. We're not piling 3 levels of cardstock on top. So we cut towards the cross, angle it a bit, and cut it off. And then we just take our bone folder again, and score. So we want to make sure when you're doing your pockets that you give it a nice strong burnish. The more you burnish, the flatter your pocket's going to be, rather than having that bow which makes your album bulge out. So then we got 2 C's. So again, I'm going to cut towards the cross, angle it and off, angle and off. And then take our bone folder, nice sharp burnishing. There we go. So that's C done. D has nothing to do to it. E is another one of those pages where we put a 1/2 inch score line and a 1/8 one. So we're just going to fold and then fold along the next one, which is that 1/8 one. So I'm pulling it back to score it, and then I'm pushing it away from me to score the other one. And then we get nice straight. Then F is another pocket. So I've already put the tape in this time, and I've already done those corner chopped off, just to save some time. G is one of these long ones, so we're going to fold, and again then just roll the other one, so we've got a 1/8. There we go. And then H are 2 more pockets. H. I is another page with a 1/8 gap. So we're just folding and bunching one, rolling the other one over, and pressing again for I. J are 2 pockets, so we're just going to do this thing. This is quite a repetitive one. That's all we're doing is the sizing is going down and down and down. Okay. And K is a page, so we're just going to fold and fold. There we go. And finally, just that one pocket of L. There we go. Okay. So that's all our cutting and scoring done. We can now move on to decorating. Now, if we have a look at the Imagine one, we had a piece of image paper with this face, and I managed to cover the whole of the album front, all these bits, using just one of my 8x8 pieces. So I'm going to show you now how I did that. In my pack, I've got a few pages left that I didn't use. I will need some of these for the inside in a second. So let's have a look. Which one shall we use? Let's use this seashell one. So we're going to start off with the outer one. And it's an 8x8 piece of chipboard. So what I'm going to do is cut this then at 7 3/4 by 7 3/4. So you will need a trimmer where you can lift and place your blade in for this one, because we're going to be gutting it, which means taking a piece of paper out of the center. So to get now my outer edge, I'm going to line up my paper at 1/2 inch. So there's my cutting blade, or the channel. I'm just come across 1/2 inch. I'm going to take my blade to the 1/2 inch place and press it down. And I'm going to cut all the way down to 7 1/4, or up to 7 1/4. So I've started 1/2 inch from the top, and I've stopped 1/2 inch, and it's 1/2 inch in. I'm just going to repeat that on all 4 sides, trying to remain as accurate as I can. So again, just lining it up on the 1/2 inch, starting 1/2 inch, ending at 1/2 inch. There we go. And then that, I would then take some distress ink and ink the outer edge. I think it's time for a new blade. Then I'm going to take the next one, and I'm going to repeat. So I'm going to put it in at 1/2 inch, start at 1/2 inch, and this time I'm stopping at 6 1/4, and repeating, just rotating it, 6 1/4 and 1/2 inch. And there we go. So now I've got my second piece of chipboard there, and this next piece will, oh, that's not go onto there. And you will have that pattern continuation, and you will just keep going until you get to a square which would fit onto your first piece of chipboard. And as I said, then you would just take your distress ink, which I've put somewhere. Here we go. Just ink the outer. I wouldn't worry about the inside because you're going to cover it anyway. And you would stick them on each one. Now, just to save some time, I have already done it. But I actually stopped when I was doing mine one away from the front. And I used one of the journal cards to do the last one. So you can see it was covered in one piece there. So I haven't done this one because this is the one I taped for you at the start. So I have got the piece ready cut, so we can just glue that on now. So you can see how that black edge really just tied everything together. Let's bring it the right way around. And you can see the beach hut there. There we go. And you can see how it all came from the same piece of paper just by cutting 1/2-inch frames down and down and down. And a wonderful way of covering quite a large piece or entire 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 cover pieces with just one sheet. And again, I've still got some papers left because I will need them to cover the larger pieces in a second. Right, let's hope I've still got all my pieces intact here because it's now time to start assembling our album. So I'm going to start off with the largest one. I've got that 1/2-inch piece, which I'm going to stick onto A. So B is going to stick onto A, like so. And the bottom one, you can, well, it's up to you. Mine opens to the left, so I'm going to put my spine on the left. You could, of course, have them all going off to the left. It really doesn't matter, it's up to you. So just going to put some tape, which will keep it in place for me for now. I'll use my larger glue this time because we're doing a large space. And this glue will keep it stuck down. So I'm folding them. I'm just going to bring my head over and I'm just going to centralize it like so. There we go. So that is B. Now C, if I remember correctly, are the pockets. Yes. So we're going to open up our book. And we're going to place a pocket on the bottom. So I've taken off the tape on the bottom tab. And I'm just taking off the tape from the two sides and folding them up. And the other C, taking off the bottom strip, lining it up bottom left, and taking off the tape. There we go. So that's our first page done, and it's a case now of just repeating. So D and E is next. And again, just like we did with A and B, we need to attach these together because my cardstock wasn't long enough to cut these in one piece. And before I attach it, I need to attach this onto the front. So again, I'm just going to put some tape onto this B. And attach my glue. Let's go onto the back of this just to make sure. And I'm going to place this now. So I'm lifting that page up, lining up my imagery. There we go. And we've got it in place. There we go. And now we can put E. So this time with E, I'm going to put my spine on the right-hand side. Just speed things up. I haven't put the tape on. So I'm just lining it up. Finding F. So F then will go inside. Take off. And this F is going to go bottom right this time. So that 1/8 of an inch gusset has allowed us then the space to make these pockets. So now we're going to attach E on. So again, just lifting up that piece, lining it up and pressing it down. So where have we reached now? Here we are. So this now is G, and G has a spine on the left. G. So I'm lifting it up so I can line that on. There we go. And GH, yep, so we're going okay. H now. H and the other H. And on the inside. H, I. So we've got it left, right, left. So this time it's on the right. So just centralizing it. So my J's are going inside. So having the alphabet really does help, because after I, you know it's going to be J. And the other J. Go. And glue the piece on. And the last one is K. So K will open to the left. So the spine goes on the left. So you see, there's nothing too complicated here. And you don't have to do the pockets like I've done. You can do whatever pockets or flaps or anything you want. So have a look through the Carla Lavera project sheet, which you can download from Graphic 45 themselves. I'm sure there'll be a link in the description below for you to get some extra ideas. Now, that is my pyramid album constructed. What I could do now is attach a ribbon on the back and have the ribbon come around so you can tie it all closed, or you can just have it as a loose one here. Oh, I still got one more pocket to put in here. There we go. So all the measurements are really nice and easy. I mean, the 1/8 is just for the gusset. You could make them even easier with 1/4 inch if you wanted to, but I think there's nothing too tricky or taxing, but looks really cool as a pyramid like that. And now we can start decorating the insides. So from my tunnel album, I have all these pieces that I'd gutted out. So I'm going to be crafty and I'm going to reuse all those pieces. But unfortunately, the largest piece isn't large enough to cover this. So we do need another couple of pages. But I say we've got plenty left anyway. So I have got this. So I could... Where should we go? Should we have a little choice? How large is this? If it's less than 4, it is 4, so I can get them both out of the same piece. And I should be able to get those out of that one. So let's find something which matches and ties it. Let's go with our seashells. Right, so we're gonna have some seashells and some of this one just to start with. Okay, so we said we've got an 8-inch album, so I just go down an extra 1/4 inch. So we're going down to 7 3/4 by 7 3/4. And I'm going to cut this one at 4 inches, which is in half, so I can get both pieces out of the same one. And then the pocket is 3 inches, so I need 2 3/4. Ooh, drop the album. So let's go to 7 3/4. Oh, it's already been. And 2 3/4. 2 3/4. So I think what I'd done with this before was, I'd used one of the borders from the bottom on the other album. Right. So let's just bring my distress ink in. So I'm just going to do the top and the 2 side edges in this. I'm not going to bother with the bottom because it's going to be tucked into my pocket. Go. I'm going to bring in the album and we're just going to stick them in. So I start with my pockets. Do you know what? I have cut these wrong, haven't I? So ignore these. I've been trying to cover the outside. We're actually going down to 7 inches, which means they need to be 6 3/4. Sorry about that. So 6, so I've actually got even more paper saving. 6 3/4. There's always an issue, isn't there? There we go. I think if I'm right, I've even cut that bit wrong as well, haven't I? Because I cut 2 inches. I didn't need to cut off 1/2 inch from the bottom. I wanted to keep the 8 inch. May have to start this piece again. So 6 3/4. There we go. Let's just re-ink those 2 edges. Right, hopefully now we've got one there. And it is too short to me. So where did I cut that off? Is it here? Or here? I'm not going to be able to, am I? I wonder if the piece I was gutting earlier, no, that's too small. Let me stick this one down. We'll just have to start again with those 2 pieces. Right. Oh, well. Let's go with... and try step 2. Should we go for this one? Right. So I only needed to cut off the left-hand side, wasn't it? So we're going to 6 3/4 and 4 4. Well, I did make a meal of that, didn't I? It's good to leave the mistakes in. Actually, we're going to use the back, aren't we? Let's use the dots. So we've got those seashells now to make some little photo cards and things. Right. Hopefully this time will be... So I'm going to tuck it inside my pocket and then line up the 3 sides. There we go. So there we have page 1 done, eventually. So moving on to number 2. Now, number 2, I can actually take those pieces of paper that I had cut out from my previous tunnel album, and we can use these bits this time. So our page now is 6 inches. So we're talking about 5 3/4. So I'm going to have a look at how we want to pair them up. So we've got that. The seashells, I like that. So we were going at 5 3/4, weren't we? Now our top space needs to be two and a half for the pocket and 3 1/4. So let's have a look. 3. I'm not quite going to get them out, so I'm going to have to go at opposite ways round. So the bottom pocket is 2 3/4, so we need to cut it at 2 1/2. So 2 1/2 off the bottom. And what we'll do then is just swap them over like so. And those will now cover this one. again, I'm only inking 3 edges. So again, I put my pocket on first. I just find it easier then to line up the insert, because I've got those 2 extra lines to line up. So when I'm going inside, I'm not seeing black on black. Here we go. And on this side. And when I say that, I still ended up gluing the wrong piece. And the shells. There we go. So now we're going to the next one. So these 2 pieces were large enough to cover that. So again, this time we're now at 5 inches page. I'm going to cut these now just 1/4 inch less. So 5 inches, we're down to 4 3/4. And the pocket is 2 inches. So I'm going to cut 1 3/4 off the bottom. And we're just going to swap them over. And it's just great that one 8x8 pad is going to make both the albums. So when you buy this album kit and you buy an 8x8 pad, double whammy. And so trying to be a little quicker. But of course, this is just a base for you to go even further. I did like some of the pullouts that Carla did in her version, so I may add some things like that to this at a later date. Not in this video, I think it's going to be long enough as it is. There we go. And there's just 2 more pieces to go. Let's have a look. Oh, we're going dark. We've got this matching one in now. Maybe because I've got some of this left over, I might use this time. So it's great when you get to these smaller bits, you can start using these scrap pieces. So it's a 4-inch square this time. So we're going to 3 3/4. The pocket is 1 3/4, so we're going to cut it at 1 1/2. So 1 1/2, 1 1/2. So we're not going to swap them over this time. These 2 are going to go there. And then 3 3/4. And it needs to be, I would go maybe 2 1/4 just to tuck it in. 2 1/4, 4 1/2. I've got, actually I'll go 2 1/2 just to make sure that we've got enough to tuck underneath. And last 2 pieces. Got our pockets covered. And the final piece, we just got this one little bit left. Now this is where you might want to start using your journal cards, or maybe these picture elements. But you've got plenty of choices around. So you've still got these two pieces as well. And this one, oh, we got more of this. Let's have some stars in there, those sea stars. And maybe we'll just go with that. So this should be a 3x3, yeah. So going down to 2 3/4. The pocket is 1 1/2. So I'm just going to cut off 1 1/4 off the bottom. Go. And I'm just going to use my pencil if I can find it. Yep, here it is. I'm actually going to cut it. I'm going to have pattern continuation this time. Just change my mind. There we go. And then the last piece, do what I'm going to cut out of this because we've got this lighter version. 2 3/4, and there's no pocket on this one. It's just going to be stuck on. So, you know, if you wanted to just put a pocket on one side of each one and a flap on the other, you know, go for it. And there we go. That is the last piece of patterned paper stuck on. So we've gone through the whole of the decorating process, and we now have our pyramid album all complete. So hope you enjoyed this one. And you've got 3 pages go that way, you've got 2 pages going that way, or you've got the whole pyramid coming out. So let's have a look. Look at those papers, they just look fantastic. So all these papers just go together so well. And there we go. 2 albums out of the 1 paper pad. And now, of course, you're going to go through now and enjoy making little booklets or memories and just attaching them in. You could even get some of the ephemera pieces and start. Actually, do what? Let's do it. Will you fit on the next one? No, you'll have to go on this one. So let's have a look. You can go up to there. Oh gosh, I think that one slid. So I'll use this to mask that maybe then. There we are. Not as obvious now. And just add your own embellishments. So hope you've enjoyed my latest brand ambassador for Graphic 45. Graphic 45 brand ambassador is what I was trying to say. And I'll see you all again soon.